Right guys, lesson 2, okay? And in lesson 2, what we are making is something that looks like this. Okay, that's what we're making in this lesson, with some audio, some bouncing balls, and an environment scene. Okay, so I've got a new document here. I'm going to press A to select everything, and then delete everything. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is I want to set up my environment. We know that if we use this button here, it shows us our rendered display. Yeah, well at the moment our rendered display is nothing because we've set nothing up. So let's change that. We can go here to World, and then Color. We can click this yellow dot, and then Environment Texture. When we've clicked that, we can click Open. Down here in my bookmarks, I've got my Blender folder. Now, how did I do that? I found my folder. I found it through here, Documents, Blender, and then once I found it, I right-clicked it and I clicked Add a Bookmark. Yeah? And now it's always going to be here, which is much easier for me to find. Okay, now I need an HDRI, which we downloaded in lesson 1B, and any nice one that you want. Okay, when you've done that, nothing changes. We need to go into rendered view. Aha. And now we can see that we have an environment. Okay. Right, back into solid view. Let's get started. Let's add a plane. Let's grab it. Let's scale it. Let's make it 10. Okay. This needs a material as well. So let's select materials. Down here, materials. Select new. And this yellow dot again. This time it's an image texture. Image texture and open. My bookmark is becoming very, very useful. Now I need a material. I want a tile this time. I forget what these look like. Tile for base color.jpg. What does that look like? That's okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. Right. Now we want a ball. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a UV sphere. Grab it. On the z-axis, let's move that 10 meters up. Okay, so we've got something like this. If we press play, nothing happens because we've programmed nothing to happen. Yeah. Now we want this ball to bounce. How do we do that? This is our physics. Okay, so we need to set up the physics of this ball. So we've got this physics properties here. So we need to click on this. We need to set it as a rigid body. Click on that. And then the shape, we need to set it to mesh. Okay? If we do that, the ball falls. But it falls straight through our plane because we've not set that up. So we need to set up the physics of this as well. So this is going to be a rigid body. But whereas here, this is set to active. We didn't change it because it was already active. This time we do need to change it. We need to change this to passive. And again, this shape needs to be a mesh. When we do that, hey, we get a ball that falls. It doesn't really bounce, does it? We get a ball that falls. Yeah? Now we want it to bounce. So down here, sensitivity. Okay, so I've still got this plane selected. Here, surface response. I want this bounciness, okay? So I'm just dragging that up, all the way up to 1. Now I'm going to press play. Okay, so bounces a little bit, but not really a lot. Now I want to add bounciness to the ball as well. Okay, so I want to make that 1. Now we should see, we're doing good, a nice bouncy ball. Good, very nice. And it bounces off the table. I want to give this a material, so I'm going to select it. I'm going to click on my Materials tab. I'm going to select New, my yellow dot, Image Texture, Open. In my bookmarks, I need a material. Which one? Food, blueberries, Base color.jpg always seems to work quite nicely. Okay, there we go, some blueberries. Yeah. Okay, all right, good. Now we need a camera, yeah, because we deleted it. Now we need it back. So let's go ahead and add a camera. Grab it. I'm going to move this on the y-axis. There we go. If we look through the camera, it's pointing down. Now I'm going to press N for November. It gets me this menu here. When I've got this menu, I can use my mouse to go up and to go down and to go side to side and to go left and to go right. Yeah? And if I do that, I should be able, once I've got my camera roughly pointed in the right direction, so 90, so 270. Let me zero these. 90. Let me grab this. Actually, no, I can do it this way. Let me move this up. Okay, now if we look through the camera and we go this way, there's our ball. And if we go down, there's our table. Good. Let me come out of that. Let me go to my overhead view. Let me move the camera back a little bit. So grab it on the y-axis. This is really tricky, guys, by the way, yeah? Because we're working in 3D space. And working in 3D space is tricky, yeah? We've done some Inkscape, yes, where we're working in 2D space. Now we're working in 3D space. It is tricky. It takes some practice. So I've got my camera down here. I've changed the focal length to 25, okay? And that kind of zooms out. Yeah, I can zoom in or I can zoom out. I don't want to zoom out too much. So about 25 is nice. Now if I press play, badoing, I can see it, yeah, but it's not perfect. What would be really nice would be if this wasn't landscape, if this was portrait, like a mobile phone. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's do that. First, I want to move my camera up a little bit. There we go. Now, let's change this from portrait into landscape. So here, in my output properties, resolution X and resolution Y, I need to flip these. 1920 to 1080. So 1080 to 1920. There we go. Yeah. Now I need to move my camera up a little bit more. Looks good. And if I press play, good, we have a bouncing ball and we can see it much more clearly. And off it goes. And remember, guys, if you find that you get yourself in a real pickle, yeah, then just delete the thing and start again, yeah? So delete my camera, I'm gonna add it again, grab it, move it on the y-axis, move it back, have a look, move it, there's my ball, switch to my view. We have to remember that this plane is like wafer thin. Okay, so I need to grab this, move this on the z-axis. Now if I look at it, I can start to see it. I couldn't see it before because this plane is actually wafer thin. Right, okay. Let me just put my camera back to how I want it. How do I want it? Where is it? Here we go. Grab this, move this back a little bit. Okay. Tilt it. Move it. No, not that way. Move it that way. Right, okay, good. So far, so good, yes? So we've got a bouncy ball. My camera, let me put this back to how I want it, 25. Good. Now we need more balls, okay? Not hundreds, yeah, but we need more than just one. So how to do that? We can select it. Command D will duplicate it. Yeah, we see that we have the new one. We have the new one over here. Then grab it on the Z-axis, just move it up. Okay, so now we've got 1 and we've got 2. They've both got the same materials. Maybe we don't want that. So let's go down to our materials tab. Now before we can change it, we actually need to delete the existing material and then create a new material. Okay, so new base color, new image texture, open, my materials, holidays, I don't know what I've got in here, lights 1, base color, okay, don't know what that looks like, let's have a look. There, okay, fine, yeah. Let me do this a couple more times. I want a total of 5 balls. Okay, so Command D, grab it, Z-axis, move it up. So that's 3, Command D, grab it, Z-axis, move it up. Okay, that's 4, Command D, grab it on the Z-axis, move it up. Okay, good. Now, for these 3, I want to change the material. So I need to delete the old material, add a new material, add an image texture, open, materials, food, donuts, base color, have a look at these in a minute, delete this material, add a new one, image texture, open, materials, wait, come on, stylized, I forget what these look like, ice, let's try ice, base color, and the last one, delete the old material, add a new one, image texture, open, blender materials, stylized, roof, base color. Okay, good. Let's have a look through the camera. Let's play it. And because they're all on top of one another, yeah, some of them tend to bounce off each other. But this is looking good. I'm quite happy with how this is looking. Yeah? Maybe they're a bit too bouncy. Yeah? So this plane, in the physics, let me just drop this bounciness down to about 50. Okay, now I'll play it again. Definitely less bouncy. That's okay. That's okay. I like some of the colours, I like some of the textures that we've got here. Maybe this as well. Maybe I'll drop this down to 50. In fact, let me go side on. And let me select these. And can I do it all together? Just drop these down. Let me try. Okay, definitely less bouncy. That's okay, actually. I quite like that. Yeah. Good. Good. One more time. Now what we can do, go back to the start, from overhead, we can actually move them. Okay, so grab it. Let me move this over here. Grab it. Let me move this so that they're not bouncing exactly on top of each other. Let me grab this one. Let me scale it. S to scale. Let me make it a bit bigger. Yeah? And we can actually change the weight. We can make this one 5 kilos. Grab this, scale this, make this smaller. Yeah? And let's make this 1/2 kilo. And this actually changes the physics of how they bounce. Yeah? Do they bounce faster? Do they bounce doing? Yeah? So the small one there is bounced all off, right off straight away. Whereas this heavier one is less mobile. Okay, good. Now, I want to change this plane. I want to rotate this plane a little bit. Because I want all of the balls to roll off. So I'm just going to rotate this about -5 degrees. so that they do all eventually bounce off. Okay, now we've got 250 frames, and it seems that by 250 frames, not everything has finished. So I want to make this a bit longer. I'm going to make this 400 frames. It's going to take a bit longer to render, but that's okay. Yeah. Now if I play, let's see what happens when it gets to 250. Nothing. Okay, so we've changed the number of frames to 400, but still all the action stops at 250. And that's because of this orange frame here, this orange bar here. So the computer has actually kind of cached what's going on. So we need to tell it to rebuild. Because when things are falling, the computer, once it's done it once, it understands that it's going to do exactly the same thing the second time. So there's no need to really compute that again. So it builds up what's called a cache. Yeah? But now that we've changed the number of end frames, the number of frames in total, we need to rebuild that cache. So to do that, we go into Scene Properties, Rigid Body World, Cache. Then we need to change this to 400, okay, to the same as this. Delete all bakes. Bake all dynamics. Okay, now we see that we have this full frame. Let's go back to the start. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. Right, now let's add some music. Yeah? So, how to do that? We need to come down here. We need to go to Video Sequencer. We need to go Add. We need to go Sound. We need to go to our audio folder, and we need to pick any audio that we want. When we've done that, we need to go here, and we need to go back to our timeline. Now when we press play, we get some audio. Okay, fine. Yeah? We're happy with that. Now we can go ahead and render. Okay, so we go into our output properties. I'm going to output it. It's really, really useful having this bookmark here. To our MOV folder. I accept this. It's going to go to FFmpeg video. Encoding is going to be QuickTime. Now audio, down here, audio MP3. Stereo, we don't need to change any of this. Okay, good. When we've done that, we can go render animation. It will take a little bit longer because there's 400 frames. Okay, so make sure that your computer is fully charged or charged more than mine is. Yeah. When that is done, you will have your render. Yes, that looks something like this. This is one that I did earlier. That's one that I did earlier. When you've got that, you can go ahead and you can fire up iMovie. You can drag lesson 2 into your My Media. Then you can make another title. Okay, so first I made this. In lesson 2 I made this. Add your new film in. So it looks something like this. And so on and so on. You don't need to export this to YouTube or upload it. This is not checkpoint 2. In checkpoint 3, you will need to do that. Okay. Right, guys. I'm sure that your animations or your videos will look much better than mine. Don't go crazy with the number of balls. Okay. Maximum, please. Maximum 5 balls, because in lesson 3, I will show you a very easy way of how to make hundreds of balls nice and quickly. Okay, so have fun with that. I'll see you in lesson 3.